Okay, we got to cover up that chat. That's not going to work very well. Hold on. I don't even know if it'll let me change that, to be honest. I think this should work in theory. So, so this may be a bit disjointed because obviously Strongman Archives is one website, and I can't. We don't want to see. We still want to be able to see the competitors, their country, their points, but we don't want to see the events from yesterday. So essentially, I had to add the source two times and then try to size each side of the screen up so that we could see Viking press being right here against the total points. Um, so I'm sharing the window twice, try to get things sized properly. It's a bit weird. I think it's going to work. Um, so group two, we can see that max points went to Andre Fachu, 15 reps. He bested Mitchell Hooper, who managed 14. Spencer Remick and Nick Canby both got 13. And Austin Andrade got 12. So all of those are really excellent numbers. Um, and it appears that that is the first event of the World's Strongest Man in the group two that Mitchell Hooper didn't either win the event outright or at least have a share of the win. So, yeah, there we go. In group three, Thomas Evans is already off to a great start with with 17 reps, making that the number to beat overall. Also, sorry for my delay this morning. I had to be an adult and take care of, responsibilities, and had an employer that actually expected me to do my job, that kind of stuff. So, kind of a shame when, you know, adulting and responsibility gets in the work of, or gets in the way of playtime. I don't really know that I can set up the World's Strongest Man website like this. I mean, I could set up either site like that, but it took some time doing the sites and stuff, and I don't want to make you guys watch me design it on the fly. So I think for today, I'm kind of going to stay parked on this one website. It would take a pretty Herculean effort from Paul. 17 is a crazy number. It's 150 kilograms with 1 minute in 1 minute. That's crazy. Okay, just checking my math there. I just did a conversion, making sure that I knew what I was talking about. So 150 kilograms was right at 330 pounds. That's what I was going to say, but I thought as soon as I say it, someone's going to correct me. So 330 pounds to move that 17 times in 1 minute, that's pretty nuts. I guess I have to be a little bit more diligent with the refreshes today too, since I only have the one website to refer to. Everybody get some good rest. I guess I should also check and see if I got the chat thing fixed, where I can interact through OBS. I think I did. Um, do my messages from OBS reach the chat? Apparently they do. So, good event for Paw normally. I guess if you're right, then this is not normally. Seventh, not going to get it done. 11 for Rob Kearney. I'm pretty sure those are the two lowest numbers so far. Maybe someone else did 11. Let me see here. I think those are the two lowest so far. Nope. Okay. There were a couple people around in the first group that got 10. I hear you, dog. I hear you. I will take you outside. I'll be back. Talk amongst yourselves. I think there's one of you here anyway. All right, back from being pet dad. Let's do a refresh just in case anything else came in. Nothing else came in. Okay. There we go. Just on cue. All right. So our group three final results. Thomas Evans with a win. Not a surprise when he puts up 17 reps. Ivers gets a second place finish with 14. Matthew Ragg with 12. Kearney with 11. And Adam Bishop and Paul O'Dwyer only manage 7. So the fact that Adam Bishop only got 7 was a big help to Paul O'Dwyer there because that meant that Kearney only climbed above him with a half a point instead of a full point. However, I guess it doesn't really matter because I'd say that Kearney and Paul they're toast. We look at overall total for Group 3 right now. That puts Matthew Ragg at the top, above Adam Bishop by a half a point, which is nothing. And then Ivers is back there with 15, and Thomas Evans charging. That was a big win for him. He's only 1 point behind Ivars for that third vital position, which really I don't consider it vital because, again, I think from the third place position, you pretty much lose the stone off. But you've got to at the end of the day yesterday, you had to like Matthew Ragg and Adam Bishop's chances based on how things stack right now. You've still got to like their chances. But that was a big blow to Adam Bishop there because he had a big lead. Fortunately, Ragg didn't go out there and crush it and win the thing. I guess these are coming kind of slow, so we can go back and do a full Viking Press update. So in Group 1, your Viking Press winner was Trey Mitchell with 16 reps. Tristan Hoff managed the second best number with 15, which allows his lead on the field to grow a little bit. Then you had a two-way tie for third place between Luke and Kevin Ferris, and they each managed only 11, so there's a big drop off after those first two, basically. And then Zukowski only managed 10 reps, along with Eddie Williams. So they'll pick up a point and a half apiece. In Group 2, you had a win for Andre Fatu with 15 reps, which would have only been good for second place in Group 1. Mitchell Hooper, it's the first event that he does not score a victory for. Yes, in event 1, he tied and shared the victory with Fatu, but it was at least a share of this. This was the first event in the World's Strongest Man 2024 that he doesn't win or have some portion of a win. He'll have to settle for a second place finish. Still give him 5 points. Still allows him to be on top of the leaderboard. But it's pretty amazing how much Andre is nipping at his heels here. Group 2 has been all about those two. They've just basically been running away with it. Spencer Remick gets a third place finish. He's tied with Nicholas Canby, so they're going to get 3.5 points apiece. Austin Andrade with 12 reps, which would have been good in a lot of other groups. In this field, the Viking press is only going to grab him 2 points. So that group had a lot of good Viking pressers. The group 3 that we just reviewed, we'll go over it again. Thomas Evans wins it with 17. Ivars is going to go ahead and take second with 14. Third place finish for Matthew Ragg at 12. Fourth place finish for Rob Kearney at 11. And then Adam Bishop and Paul O'Dwyer are going to split up 3 points for a point and a half apiece with 7 reps. So there we go. You know, we are, just so you guys know, I'm not gonna shut down the stream this time. Um, we're gonna keep it up. From the Viking press through the car walk into the stone off. We're gonna leave it up all day. I may or may not step away from the camera at various moments, give myself a break, let my throat heal up depending upon how many people join us. If it's like in past years where we've got a lot of interaction going on and I'm talking nonstop, I probably will take a couple short intermissions because the last couple years it did get kind of tough on me. Um, but by and large, I'll be here to run my mouth all day long. Did you guys watch the video yesterday? What if there were no groups? Anyone check it out? This So it does appear that the banana hammock watched yesterday's video, uh, and I would agree that Hooper scoring 85 out of 90 possible points on the first three events tells you where he's at. It's um it's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? You got 90 points out there for the taking, and he walks away with 85 of them. That's not good. That's otherworldly. I mean, Evan Singleton with his performance, 76. It's like, my goodness. If you said that someone was going to get 76 out of 90 if they were going heads up and they would be good for second place, I'd be like, okay, whatever. They're killing it, man. Um and yeah, it kind of just shows that like everybody else is playing for second right now. Mitchell Hooper is he's just on a different level. Group 4 wanting some results on our Viking press. I feel like these results should actually come a little bit quicker than they are because they've only got 60 seconds allowed. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of time to set this thing up. Um, but there I go complaining about the pacing of WSM again. I guess it's something that I consistently do, but I don't know. I feel like they remind me of my time in the military, like hurry up and wait. I'm going to press refresh, and there will be results. Just not at the world's strongest man, but somewhere out there on planet Earth, there are some results in something. Maybe someone totaling up their grocery bill, or inflating their tires, whatever. I was really impressed with Mitchell's fellow Canadians yesterday. I thought that both Tristan Hoth and Derwinski really good. Looked really good. Like, we got to see them. I thought they had some really good results. Um, uh, so I am impressed, and I think it leads to what I was talking about yesterday too. That whole inspiration, the spirit of competition, and challenging yourself and challenging those around you. Um, so I'm not giving. I'm not trying to take anything away from like the work that Tristan Hoth has put in, or Derwinski, or some other Canadians who are doing really impressive things right now. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, and I don't want to give their credit to Mitchell Hooper, but I still believe that is the Mitchell Hooper effect. I still believe that one of the reasons that we're seeing them achieve these things is because they feel A, inspired, and B, driven by competition to take their countrymen down. Like, if that guy can do it, we can do it too. So it's kind of like that whole, old saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. Hi there, Tucker. Hi there, Tucker. Hi, baby. You daddy's boy? Yeah. So Evan has a 5 point lead over Rauno right now. Um, if Evan comes out here and wins this event, wins the Viking press, he basically assures himself a shot to the final. He'd pick up at least one more point, assuming Rauno finished second. So he'd go to 22. Rauno would be at 16. That'd be a 6 point lead. That means there's no way for Rauno to catch uh, Evan in the car walk, which I don't think he would anyway. Um, so if Evan can pull off a win here, he guarantees himself the road to the final, and basically winning the group outright. If he wins the Viking press, he wins group 4. Now, I mean, I guess technically I lied. I said there's no way for Rauno to catch him. I suppose if Rauno got 6 points and Evan scratched, so he didn't do the car walk at all, then he'd get 0. Heinle would get 6, and they would tie. Um, so I guess mathematically speaking, there'd still be a path for Rauno to catch Evan if Evan wins the Viking press, but would be exceedingly unlikely. So in all likelihood, 99.999% chance, if Evan were to win the Viking press, he wins group 4 outright. And we finally have some results coming in. From the USA, Marcus Crowder with 12 reps and Rauno with 9. So right away we know that Rauno is going to be losing some ground on Singleton, unless Singleton can manage fewer than 9 reps, which he'll probably get more than that. Probably. Because everybody else is after Evan is kind of bunched up together. With 9 reps, that's not good for Rauno. He may fall out of contention here. Not contention. Again, they're all tight, but he may fall out of that top 2 spots and fall back to third, fourth, fifth because it all depends on what they do here. If anyone is here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Aren't you supposed to say stuff like that when you're making these videos and things? So, sure I get that in there. Every year, people pop into and out of the chat. We're watching this, and people want to go back and do recaps, so I do the recap. So, what I have learned over the years is that if you're in group 1 or 2, you're going to get a lot more shine and focus and be talked about on this channel more than you will if you're in groups 3, 4, or 5. Because if you're in group 1, you're going to get talked about 5 times. You're going to get talked about when you do your results. You're going to get talked about after group 2. You're going to get talked about after group 3, after group 4, and after group 5. If you're in saddle group 5, the only time your name gets mentioned is at the end of each event. So if you want coverage from the mighty, huge mega channel of Jace Loves Strength with our 400 or 500 subscribers, you want to be in group 1 or 2. We wait. What we do a lot of around here. We wait. All right. So Kane Francis manages 12, which is good for a share of first right now in the group with Marcus Crowder. And then Evans Nana picks up the worst number of his group with 8. So again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Evans Nana. I'm not. Uh, but when Big Laws was talking about how he was going to be a contender and probably make the final, and I was honestly, it seemed like a bit of a homer pick to me. Laws. He finishes day one in the cellar for his group, and then he only manages 8 here, which out of the 4 men who have gone, it's good for last. Sure, Evan could do worse. Sure, Pavlo could do worse. I don't expect them to. I definitely don't expect Evan to do worse. Uh, but it doesn't look to me like Evans Nana is gonna be moving up here. And yeah, the prediction of him making the final, I was skeptical, to put it mildly. Um, it, I think we can close the door on that. Anybody have any questions or queries? 'Cause, I'm always glad to answer them. We don't ask you to pay for your questions here. Man, my face itches. And there's no reason for the results to come in this slowly between. They've only got a 60-second timer on the thing, and like I said, it does not take long to set this implement up, so I'm not sure why it takes so long in between each round. Or not even each round, because I think round I would count as a group, but in between each heat or session within the round, they should be much quicker. You would have thought they'd be pacing it better this year anyway, and by better I mean more rapid. In my opinion, it's better because they've done a good job. I don't give World's Strongest Man credit that much, but I'll give them credit that they've tried to make it more spectator friendly for those in attendance this year. Tried to set it up and invite people in to watch. Plenty of viewing. People when they go to live sporting events, they don't generally like to just sit around and wait and do nothing. So you would have thought they would have had more of an emphasis on line them up, let's go, line them up, let's go, because that's what the fans in attendance would be wanting, you know. But I guess Colin and group kind of just do what they want to do, and that's just the way it's going to be, and that's all there is to it. You got to deal with it. Yeah, I prefer it the other way. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm playing with all these. I think I'll put it back where it originally had it. That one's actually not too bad. I actually think I like that one over the normal. Do you see Adam is still a contender for the podium? Um, so I guess your question here is back here. Yeah, I definitely see. I mean, I don't, as a contender for the podium, it's a different question. As a contender moving on into the final, yeah, definitely. Um, I he's got 4.5 point lead over Thomas Evans right now, and you've only got the car walk really to come into play there, and then the stone off. I I can't see Thomas Evans picking up 5 points on Adam Bishop in the car walk. In order for that to happen, Thomas Evans has to win the car walk, and Adam Bishop has to get 1 point. That would give him five. That would go over that 4.5 point gap. He would jump into the second place. Other than that, though, that means Adam Bishop is going into the stone off, and if he's going into the stone off, maybe he does better than Matthew Ragg in the car. We don't know what's going to happen, but in the scenario you're positing here, Adam Bishop is going into a stone off more than likely in second place. There's just virtually no way that he's not going to be in the second place position. Doesn't need to be the best stone lifter in the world. He's good enough that I don't see him losing to anybody that we see there unless their stones have improved tremendously. There might be some people who have, every time we see these guys compete, there's someone that's working on something, there's someone that does better than they've ever done before. It happens. But unless there is someone that has upped their stone game in a major, major way, I don't see anyone in the third place position beating Adam Bishop in the stone off if he's in the second place position. So he can hold it. That's what I'm trying to say. He may not beat them, but I think that he can hold it against any of the guys in that group. So, so to be honest, as of right now, I'm looking at Group Three, and I'm thinking that Matthew Ragg and Adam Bishop are into the finals. What that means is Thomas Evans won't be in the final, so no, he won't be on your in your podium or anything like that. Do I still think it's possible that Adam Bishop is a contender for the podium? Yeah, I still think it's possible. He wasn't on my podium, but I think he's a contender if he's there. Looks like he's gonna be there. Seems to be in top form and performing pretty well. Um, yeah, I think you could make an argument that he'll be in contention. Um, I think he'll be short. Um, I'm probably looking for him to finish around fifth, sixth overall. Kind of depends on who winds up in the final. Let's reconvene at the end of the day and let me take a look at who the field of 10 is. Because I'm going to do that anyway. I'll make a prediction of first through 10th once we know who all 10 are. Um, but yeah, is he still a contender? Sure, he's still a contender. Where am I watching? Nowhere, because you can't. We're watching it play out right here on the spreadsheets. Okay, it looks like we got the rest of group 4. Yeah. So, Evan Singleton does exactly what I thought he would do here and wins the Viking press. That also means that he wins his group outright. There's no way to catch Evan Singleton. He is your group 4 winner. Pavlo Kordiaka thought he was going to do well here. He does do well here. That gives him 5 points. So Pavlo, after a bad day 1, he's managed to jump way up on the totem pole here, and is now in second place with 2.5 points to spare. So big, big, big event for him. Uh, Ending the Sandbag steeplechase with a win, good way to finish off a bad day 1. Coming in here and getting second place in the Viking press, his fortune has changed tremendously. Then you have Marcus Crowder and Kane Francis. They're tied for third place right now, and they happen to tie for third place in the last event. So they pick up 3.5, and that sticks them right there at 12.5. They both got some work to do. Actually, they're tied for fourth place. Rano had a bad finish, but he's still a half a point up on them. He's still a half a point up on them. My bad. My bad. He's got 13. But Evans Nana, there again, he's down at the basement. He's 4 points behind being able to crawl out of last place. Technically 3.5, right? But for all intents and purposes, his world's strongest man is over. And then we wait for group 5. But we'll go ahead and go back and do a Viking press review for the first few. And we'll take a look at the point standings again, see if anyone's locked things up, like Evan Singleton. So in group 1, your Viking press winner was Trey Mitchell, followed by Tristan Hoff, Luke Stoltman, Kevin Harris, Kevin Ferris, Jace, not Harris, Kevin Ferris. Tie for third with 3.5, so they walk away 3.5 points apiece. And then Eddie Williams and Zukowski bring up the rear. They're going to split 3 points, giving them 1.5 apiece. When you look at the total overall point standings for Group 1, you can see that Tristan Hoff is in the lead with 20. He doesn't have a group win cinched up yet. Luke Stoltman is capable of catching him. Technically, mathematically, Eddie Williams is capable of catching him, but that would require Eddie Williams to win the car walk and Tristan Hoff to scratch. Same thing I said earlier about Evan. If he finished worse there and you could do some catching, but if you got a 5.5 point lead, it's basically a 6 point lead. You're good as long as you're not withdrawing from the competition. So basically, the only person in Group 1 that can take the win away from Tristan at this point is Luke. Now, that doesn't mean that Luke has sewed this up and he's moving on either. In terms of that second place position, Trey Mitchell, Eddie Williams, and Luke Stoltman, they're all still in contention going into the car walk. But the only one that can take the victory away from Tristan at this point is Luke. In Group 2, your results were a win for Andre Fatu, a second place position for Mitchell Hooper, first event that he doesn't win or have a share of the win. Spencer Remick and Nicky Canby. Spencer Remick and Nick Canby take 3.5 points apiece. Austin Andrade walks away with 2 for 12 reps. In most groups, 12 reps was pretty decent, so tough break for him. When we look at the total point standings, you would think that Mitchell Hooper would have his group sewn up too, and he's not catchable either, since that's what Evan has done. But no, because Andre Fatu is fighting him tooth and nail. So Mitchell Hooper has 22.5 points. He's going to have to compete in the car walk. He can't just phone it in. Andre Fatu's there is 20.5. He's got a 5.5 point lead over Austin Andrade. So basically, Hooper and Fatu, they're gonna be first and second in group two. It's just a matter of what order. And if I'm taking bets, I'm probably gonna take a bet that Mitchell Hooper wins the car walk. So that's what I yeah. Mitchell Hooper's on top. He'll still be on top after the car walk, and he'll win the group two. But as of right now, he doesn't have it cinched. But him and Fatu basically have 1 and 2 cinched. And then Austin Andrade, he's 4.5 points over Spencer Remick. So he's pretty much got the third place position cinched as well. So your top of the leaderboard in Group Two is all set pretty much. More than likely, you've got Mitchell Hooper winning the thing, and then you're going to have Austin Andrade and Andre Fatu in a stone off to see who moves on to the final. Austin Andre will be coming from the third place position. Andre will be in the second place position. All he has to do is answer. So that's what you're looking at from Group Two. More than likely. Group Three Viking press results. Thomas Evans wins it with the mark of the day of 17 reps. Big win for him. Ivar second place, 5 points. Matthew Ragg third place for 4. Rob Kearney fourth for 3 points. Adam Bishop and Paul Dwyer are going to grab a 1.5. When we look at the total points here, it's shook up. Some things changed in Group 3 with that last event. Matthew Ragg jumps to the top of the board, just a 0.5 point above Adam Bishop, after Adam basically ties for fifth, worst place position there. And and Matthew Ragg, he only got 4 points. So it was only a third place finish, but that was enough to jump over Adam Bishop. And then Ivars and Thomas Evans, they're and then basically Ivars and Thomas Evans, I was trying to read the comments there, are going to be competing for that third place position essentially. But again, I don't see either of them winning a stone off from the third place position. So I think Matthew Ragg and Adam Bishop are moving on out of Group 3. If I was a betting man, that's what I would bet now. Unless Adam Bishop does bad in the car walk. If he does bad in the car walk, then all bets are off. Group 4, Viking Press. Evan Singleton wins it. Figured he would. 16 reps there, the second best mark of the day. Pavlo Kordiaka takes 14 reps for 5 points. Marcus Crowder and Kane Francis are going to grab 3.5 points each. Ronald Heinle only picks up 2, and then Evans Nana with a single point. When you look at the Group 4 overall, you see that it's Evan Singleton. He doesn't even have to do the car walk. He could go out there and say, no thanks, I pass, and he still wins the group. Got 7-point lead right now. Now, I don't like when guys take the easy way out. Looking at the camera, I don't like when guys take the easy way out. I don't like the modern day strongman game where it's all about strategy and stuff, but I also respect it. I understand it. I'm kind of a guy that likes to use my intellect and likes to be very cerebral in my approaches to things as well. So I get why you would do it, but I kind of just like that competitive spirit that says, I'm going all out even though I don't have to. So I don't see Evan Singleton, especially. You can make the argument. I would see some guys who might scratch or go out there, pick it up and put it down just so they can get their little 1 point. That would be the smart thing to do. It really would be the smart thing to do. I don't like it, even though I would respect the intelligence of the move. But I don't see Evan Singleton doing the smart thing. He's not going to go out there, pick the car walk up, and walk 2 feet to get a point. He's going to go out there and try to beat these guys. And so, but he doesn't have to. He's your Group 4 winner. And then Pavlo Kordiaka, he's in second place. Raunos in third with 13. Marcus Crowder and Kane Francis are 12. Basically, what that means is all of those guys are really alive for that third place position in a stone off. And that's a scary proposition if you think about it. We saw what Rauno did to Brian Shaw last year in the stone off from that third place position. So Evan Singleton's going to cruise into the finals right now. He's on easy street and can really again take the car walk off if he wants to, and gets to rest. Whoever is moving on into the finals in the second, they've got their work cut out for them. they're going to have a bad final more than likely because they're going to be exhausted by the end of this. Because Rauno, if unless he gets eliminated here and he doesn't wind up in the third place position, they're going to have to work. He's going to make them work. So more than likely, someone from this group is going to be exhausted. And then we wait for our group 5 results. The smart thing to do, I wouldn't like it because, again, I like the competitive fire, would be for Evan Singleton to go out there and take it really easy in the car walk. I wouldn't like it, but I would, even though I wouldn't like it, I would actually brag on him if he does take it easy. Um, I don't give Evan much credit at all, and I've been doing nothing but praising him this entire World's Strongest Man. It feels uncharacteristic for me. Um, something's broken in the world when Jace has nice things to say about Evan Singleton. Um, but the smart thing would be for him to do that. If he does that, I'll congratulate him and pat him on the back, even though that's not what I want to see. Um, but I don't see him doing that. It seems like it would be a very, very non Evan Singleton thing to do, to go out there in any event and not go balls out. No, I didn't hear anyone's interviews yesterday. But one, I'm not surprised he sounded that calm from this. One of the things that I complimented him on yesterday was the fact that over the last year, he has seemed to mellow out a lot. He has seemed to come back a lot. Evan Singleton is still Evan Singleton. He still wants to be in character. He still wants to get some heat. He wants to be Strongman's heel. He wants to be the heel of the sport. He thrives on that. That's what he wants. Uh, I got no problems with it. Again, one of my big complaints isn't his boisterous, overbearing attitude. I just think he comes. He's. It's not authentic. He's doing an act, and I think it's obvious that he's doing an act. That's what I don't like about it. I want the guys. If you're gonna be a prick or act like a prick, convince me that you're truly a prick. If you're if you're gonna be an a hole, make me think that you're someone I don't want to invite to Thanksgiving because that's probably who you are. I don't buy that with Evan. I just think he's clearly playing it up for the camera. And, but I think that he has done a good job of scaling it back over the last year. And that's made him seem more authentic. He's still being the bad boy. He's still being a bit heelish, but it's not over the top. It's more subtle and more calm. And to me, it comes across as more authentic. And wouldn't say I'm on the Evan Singleton bandwagon or train yet, but I'm finding it easier to appreciate him in the second half of 2023 and 2024 than I have the earlier part of his career. Ruskowski puts up the first mark in Group 5 with a very, very, very good and respectable 14 reps. So a good performance from him after a really struggling day one. So props to him. Kudos to the big pole. Evan Simpleton. I do think I'm a stickler for the rules, and so I want the rules to be followed. There are a couple times where the rules have bitten him, and I don't. I'm inclined to be like, well, you know the rules, they're there. Um, but there are a couple times where things have worked against him where I thought that's kind of stupid from the standpoint that the rules are set up to prevent people from cheating and to prevent abuse. So, like in the Shaw Classic, about keeping your hands there, you don't gain any strength if your hands would come off that leg press thing. It doesn't increase your strength at all. Um, Especially not if you're not taking your hands off of it to put on your legs to increase drive, or you're not taking your hands off to brace somewhere else. But that's what the reason's there. Lock in for safety and to prevent additional leverage. He took his hands off to get the crowd up going for him, and then he actually placed them back in the thing before doing the rep. And because he took his hands off, the reps didn't count. Now, as the rules were there, I get it, I respect it, I know it, but I also thought it was kind of lame. The guy did the extra rep, give him credit. Now, again, I'm going to give more praise and credit to Evan Singleton. I can't believe I'm doing this. Can't believe I'm Evan's defender. But to Evan's credit, I thought he would have had a legitimate beef. He had a chance to be a shining heel that he is and really complain and make a scene about that. Instead, he was like, I knew the rules. I shouldn't have done that. That's on me. Um, I respected his approach, although I also thought that it sort of diminished his heel character. He sounded like a face. He sounded like a good guy taking the high road. Uh, I wanted to see Evan Singleton ticked off and um, anyway, I'm rambling again. Got a long time between the Viking press and the car walk, I think. I think it's the biggest delay of the day. Could be wrong. But they got started a little late on this one too, so let's do a refresh just in case something has happened. And nothing has happened. By the way, guys, it's nothing for me. I don't get paid for it. If you do use Strongman Archives, you can go to Strongman Archives, scroll to the bottom, and click on their donate button. And I highly recommend you do that. I make a small donation of like $10 each year to them. It doesn't help a lot, but I appreciate all of the work that they put in. I appreciate that they don't stick all the data behind a paywall. I appreciate that if you're a historian of the sport or just love to study these guys, that they make all that data available. Um, it takes a lot of time on their part. So I get nothing for saying that. It's definitely not a sponsored video or anything, but if you love the sport and you appreciate the work that the guys at Strongman Archives do, go ahead and send them a couple bucks. I do every year. All right. So Wesley Derwinski and Nathan Goldtree both put up 13 reps. Again, very, very good numbers. Also goes to show how good Adam just did with his 14 before. So that means all we have left is Jaco Schoenfinkel and Tom Stoltman to go. And then our Viking press is done. Ooh, yawn, yawn, yawn. There will be another What If There Were No Groups video today. Um, yeah, we'll do a day two event or day two no groups. I'm trying to decide though if I'm gonna do like two separate videos. Probably not. Seems kind of silly to me, but I'm playing with the idea of maybe a day two What If There Were No Groups video, and then a second overall What If There Were No Groups video to combine the 2 days. But I'll probably just work that into the What If There Were No Groups day two event video. I'm gonna have to get something in my Eddie Hall Beast hydration system soon. Pretty thirsty. What are we doing? Give us the results, people. Ooh, I gotta stop the yawning. It's gonna be a long day. Long day. What's the next question, folks? What's the next question? Hit me with something. Get me started on another tangent. Get me talking about things like stone offs and whatnot. I took a shot to the jaw several years ago when I was a young man. It still hurts today, like 15 years later. A little refreshy action. So it would appear your Group 5 results. Tom Stoltman and Adam Roskowski go ahead and share first place, giving them 5.5 points apiece. Wesley Derwinski and Nathan Goldtree share second place or third place, depending on how you want to classify that, meaning they split 7 points for 3.5 points apiece. And then Jaco Schoonwinkel only managed 12. Only managed 12. Really good number. But like the gentleman in the group before, luck of the draw. Sorry, bad group. You got some good Viking pressers here. That's only good for 2 points for Jaco. So he stays up there, but that allows Tom to increase the lead there and allows Jaco to fall further behind him. And now he's just a half a point up on Wesley Derwinski. To kind of show you what that looks like, there we go. Tom Stoltman now has a 4.5 point lead over Jaco Schoonwinkel, who has only a half a point lead over Wesley Derwinski. So you've got 3 Canadians now that are in contention and fighting for that final, basically. Then you've got Nathan Goldtree in fourth at 13.5, Adam Roskowski at 11.5, and then, of course, Bobby Thompson had to withdraw. So, guess we'll go back, we'll review all 5 groups of the Viking press, and we'll take a look again at where the points shake up. So, we're going to start out doing 2 reviews. First review is simply going to be Viking press results. Group 1, Viking press, Trey Mitchell, Tristan, I don't really know how to say his last name. I say Hoth, but could be Hoth, Hoeth. Someone earlier said Howe, which would be how, and then TH, which would make it Houth. I don't know. I want to ask Tristan personally, like, dude, how you say your last name? Um, Third place, tied for Luke Stoltman and Kevin Ferris, and then Eddie Williams and Zukowski go ahead and have the final spot there in Group 1's Viking press results. In Group 2, your winner was Andre Fatu, then you had Mitchell Hooper, then you had Spencer Remick and Nick Camby tying for third place, and then Austin Andrade bringing up the rear. In Group 3 of the Viking press, you had a victory for Thomas Evans of the US of A, and then you had Ivars picking up second place, Matthew Ragg a third place finish, Rob Kearney picking up a fourth place finish, and then Adam Bishop and Paul O'Dwyer tying for fifth place results in the Viking press. In Group 4, what you basically had here was a win for Evan Singleton. You had Pavlo Kordiaka picking up second place with 5 points, Marcus Crowder and King Francis tying with 3.5 apiece, then Ronald Hainla picking up 2, and Evans Nana picking up a single point in the Viking press. When we go to Group 5, what we see is we had a tie for first place between Tom Stoltman and Adam Roskowski. They're going to split 11, giving them 5.5 apiece. After that, we fall back 1 rep and then lose 2 points for those 1 rep. So that's an expensive 1 rep for Wesley Derwinski and Nathan Goldtree, going to get 3.5 apiece. And Jaco Schoonwinkel, he was at 12, so he's only 2 reps behind the leaders here, yet he loses 3.5 points of positioning to them. So those 2 reps are big if you're Jaco Schoonwinkel. It'd have been really great for him personally if he could have squeezed out another rep or something. That 12 there, and obviously he couldn't because he was in the last heat. He knew what the guys before him had to do. Sometimes they don't, right? You'll see the guys think, hey, that's a good number, and then they stop, and then guys after them come aboard and do that. You can't make that argument for Jaco Schoonwinkel. You can't do that because he was already at the top. He got to see everybody go before him. He knew what he needed to do. Apparently 12 was all he could get done. And that's a good number, but not in this field, apparently. So he loses a lot of points with that one, picking up 2. And we go back and see where all the groups shake out. Are you guys ready for this? You guys ready to view the groups? How much weight is it going to take to win the axle press in the finals? I don't know. Let's discuss that in a moment. Good question. Let's review these group standings, shall we? Group 1. You've got Tristan in the lead with 20 points. Luke Stoltman, the older Stoltman, the senior Stoltman brother, who you can make an argument that I have written off in the past, right? I don't really think that I'm a Luke hater. I think that I'm kind of practical and honest with my assessments. Some people don't like that. But I will say that Luke is performing very, very well, super admirably, and I'm quite proud of Mr. Luke. So he's in second place at 17 and a half points right now. You've got Eddie Williams with 15 and a half. Big Tex Trey Mitchell in fourth place in Group 1 with 14 points. Kevin Ferris at 12 and a half points in fifth. And the other Polish competitor, Zilikowski, has 4.5. He's in the rear. He's done. He's cooked. He's toast. It's over. Now, there are 5 points separating Luke and Kevin Ferris. So, technically, Kevin Ferris wins the car walk. That would give him 18 and a half. Luke Stoltman gets 1 point. That would give him 18 and a half. They would then tie for that positioning, and they would need Eddie and Trey to do pretty badly as well. So that's not likely. It's not likely. The only point that I'm making is, technically speaking, Kevin Ferris is not mathematically eliminated yet, but for all intents and purposes, he's gone as well. You've really got to be Trey Mitchell or better points wise to have any shot of still moving on into the finals. But you really want to be Tristan right now. And if you're not Tristan, having your name be Luke Stoltman would be a pretty good idea. Your Group 2. You have Mitchell Hooper with 22 and a half points. That is great, and it is the single highest points of any group leader right now. But strangely, even though he has the highest point total of any group leader, he doesn't have the biggest lead. In fact, he's got one of the smaller leads because Andre Fatu from the Czech Republic has 20 and a half points himself. These two guys, Hooper and Andre, have been beating their groups down. And Austin Andrade has had a pretty good World's Strongest Man himself. So he's actually looked really good. And he's 5.5 points behind the second place guy here. So Hooper and Andre Fatu, they are head and shoulders above everyone else. So basically, yeah, Mitchell Hooper's going to win Group 2, and then you're going to have a stone off between Andre Fatu and Austin Andrade. That's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. And the question is, can Austin Andrade win in a stone off against Andre Fatu from the third place position? Because that's the position he's going to be in. I don't think so. But I haven't seen enough sample size of either of these guys, to be honest. The sample size is pretty small because they're both young and new in sport. So maybe he can. But I, as always with the stone offs, I'd much rather be in second place than third. Group 3. You have Matthew Ragg on top by the slimmest and teeniest, tiniest, smallest of margins. He has 19 points, and Adam Bishop is right there at 18 and a half. Virtually a tie. Not quite. There's interesting virtually a tie and a tie. And then Ivars is back 3.5 points in that third place position at 15. Thomas Evans is at 14. So if Ivars is still alive, then Thomas Evans is still alive. After that, though, nobody is alive. Rob Kearney and Paul Dwyer, they're dead. Group 4. Evan Singleton. He's already won Group 4. That's the bottom line. Evan Singleton has already won Group 4. And you say, but Jace, we still have the car walk to go. Yeah, we do. But it doesn't matter what happens in it. Evan Singleton's your Group 4 winner. He's got 7 points up on second. He can't be caught. Pavlo Koriaka, after having 2 rough events to get the World's Strongest Man started, he then puts on 2 great performances. He wins the sandbag steeplechase to end day 1, and then he comes back with a second place finish here. So he adds 11 points to his abysmal 4 points before that, And that was a big jump. It's a big jump. It allowed him to climb from basically near the cellar to boom in that second place position. And he passes Rauno, who's in third place with 13 points. And then he's basically in a three-way tie right there because Marcus Crowder and Kane Francis have 12 and a half of their own. The only person in this group four that is really eliminated that at this point is Evans Nana. Everyone else is still alive, at least to find themselves into a stone off. And then we go to group five. Tom Stoltman has 21 and a half points, and he's been very consistent. He only has one event win, but if he hasn't won, he's walked away with second. And I guess you could say he has two event wins since he tied in the Viking press. But I think we all knew there were going to be a lot of split points in events like Viking presses. When they're just competing for reps and you're on an apparatus like that, you're going to see a lot of guys kind of do the same. But anyway, Tom Stoltman has 21 and a half. That gives him a 4.5 point lead over Jakob Schoonwinkel, who's coming back after his injury and after having winning his group in the 2023 World's Strongest Man. But he's only a half a point ahead of Canadian Wesley Derwinski. Then Nathan Goldtree is back another 3 points there at 13 and a half in fourth place. Adam Ruskowski is back 2 more points from there at 11 and a half, and Bobby Thompson had to withdraw. Mathematically speaking, you could make a case again that Roskowski is not technically eliminated because he could get 6 points, adding 17 and a half. Schoonwinkel doesn't compete. That'd be enough. It's not going to happen. So I think we can say that Adam Roskowski is pretty much eliminated as well. That means that Nathan Goldtree and above are still available to compete for the stone off. But Goldtree needs to have a really, really good car walk, and he needs those above him to falter. So, and actually, since Bobby Thompson has withdrawn, I'm going to take back what I said about Adam Ruskowski. Because of the withdrawal of Bobby Thompson, that changes the points available. So Adam Ruskowski is actually mathematically eliminated due to Bobby Thompson being out. He can't put enough space between him and the other guys. So I take back what I said before. Ruskowski is mathematically eliminated. So that's where we're at as we finish with our first event of day 2 qualifiers. How much weight is it going to take to win the max axle press in the final? Well, if Bobby Thompson was going to be in the final, the great log lifter, he's a great presser, I think he could have challenged. Tom Stoltman used to sort of be a weakness of his, no longer a weakness of his. Tom Stoltman has gotten to be a really, really good presser. What I'm doing is I'm naming people who aren't Mitchell Hooper. And the reason I'm doing that, for those of you who haven't been following along, Mitchell Hooper has been talking in the lead up to this as though he might just go ahead and break the axle press world record at the World's Strongest Man. He might have to do that. I don't know. We have some great pressers still alive and still competing. I don't know what the winning weight will be. It'd be interesting if you guys would lend some comments as to where you think it might be. But Mitchell has been talking about potentially breaking the world record at this event. Not saying he has to. He's also made it sound like whether he has to or not, he might just go ahead and do it. But the winner of it in the finals, they might be in a position where they have to break the world record. There's some good pressers still, and it seems like an event that has seen some pretty good gains in recent years. So the guys are getting more used to holding that bar, cleaning it, working it up. I think they've all gotten a lot better at it. For the longest time, I don't really think it was the pressing that was the issue. It was the clean part. And it's still that issue for most of them. I can't use an axle bar because my hands are teeny tiny. There's no me getting it up. It's just not happening. So I still think that's the bigger problem rather than the actual press. But it seems like these guys are getting the hang of it. They're getting much, much better at it. and I don't know what the winning weight will be, but I have a feeling it's going to need to be impressive. Cooper said he already broke the Express world record in training. And then he told Eddie, but in training doesn't count, right? Went over Eddie's head. Are you trying to say that there were shots fired across the bow? Um, Maybe he got it and maybe he didn't. But I'm perfectly okay if he didn't because that's a chapter of strongman that I is in the rearview mirror now. I hope it stays in the rearview mirror. I don't want to revisit it. I don't want to go back to it. I don't have any more desire to watch terrible boxing. Um, okay, guys, I need something to drink. Let's let's do like a little intermission here. I'll let the thing roll. You guys stay here and talk to one another. If there's anybody here to talk to, I don't really know. I don't have the stats up to really know if anyone's joining us. But I'll keep the show running. You guys do whatever you want. I gotta get something to drink. Might come back here and eat on camera rudely as well. And that probably has to do with if the delay is significant. Yeah, you're getting ahead of yourself, banana hammock. If the delay is significant, it's probably because I'm not streaming in low latency mode. Because this time I got OBS working the way it's supposed to and synced up with YouTube properly. So that meant I scheduled and started the show from within OBS rather than YouTube. When you do it within OBS and you kick it off that way, there is no option to do low latency mode. It's basic, and I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work, to be honest. But it's basically just schedule the show and go. I guess it takes the default version of that, which is not that mode. In order to opt for low latency or ultra low latency, which is what I did yesterday, you have to actually start from YouTube and then switch over to your streaming software. And that's what we did yesterday. And I only did that yesterday because OBS wasn't working properly. So that's what I did. I didn't know that feature existed until yesterday and only found it out of necessity and accident because the software wasn't working. Um, but if we like it better that way, this weekend for the finals, I'll kick the shows off from with inside of YouTube and then get OBS to pick it up so that the dialogue and the chat is much more real time. I'll do that this weekend for you guys for the finals. It's actually not as bad as it was last year. I think in the past when we've done this, we've been about 30 to 35 seconds behind. But there might even be a way I can toggle it in midstream. It would require, and I'm not saying I can do this, but if I can do that, I'll check in a minute, see if there's a feature where I can edit the streaming quality to a live stream that's already going. I'm guessing I can't, but I'm gonna look anyway. But if I can, it would require you guys to refresh your streams and then tap the little live icon to get caught back up. Since there's not a lot of action going on right now, now would be a great time to do that because nothing would really be missed. And I don't know that we can, but I'll take a look real quick. I'm curious myself. That's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for you, Banana Hammock. I'm doing it because I'm curious and I want to know. So give me a second here. Verifying that this is me trying to log in. This should be the channel. There's the stream going on. Let me pop this out here. I don't really see that window there. That's not working. That's the live control. That's it right there. Okay, so can't I go to studio from here? Uh, Select stream. That's this one here. That's right. That's not working. I don't think I'm going to be able. Well, here's Open Studio link. Let's see what this does. Let's just see. There we go. It looks like I can't change from normal to low or ultra low midstream. I didn't think I could, but I do see the spot to do it. It is actually blocked and grayed out, so you can't do it from one that's already running. But I'll do that this weekend. I'll do that this weekend. I guess technically speaking, I could end the freaking thing, start a brand new stream, and then go again. The problem is I have to boot everyone off. I don't know how many people are going to come back. uh, it looks like we have 22 people here now, which used to be a small group for us, but in the last 24 plus hours, 22 is huge. Uh, uh, I don't mind doing it, but I don't want to lose the people that we have. But no one is talking, no one is doing anything, so I don't know. It's kind of tempting. All right, I'm gonna shut it down and come back.